Hello, everybody. Welcome to another top 10 list on the Powerbomb Project. I am one of your hosts, Daniel, joined by my other two hosts.
Herman.
And Chris.
And today we are going to talk about a wrestler who recently just hit 20 years in the business. And that is my favorite wrestler of all time, Randy Orton. And simply put, Randy Orton was one of the people that got me into wrestling more than anything. And whether it's the Legend Killer, the Viper, or what he's doing now with Arcade Bro, or anything really, I basically have really liked or loved all of his work, honestly. And today we're going to be taking a look and appreciating some of that work. So before we begin this top 10 list, here are a few honorable mentions. Randy Orton versus Shawn Michaels, Unforgiven 2003. Randy Orton versus Rob Van Dam for the Intercontinental Championship, Armageddon 2003. WrestleMania 20, Evolution versus Rock and Sock Connection, which was his WrestleMania debut. And then SummerSlam 2004, World Heavyweight Championship, Randy Orton versus Chris Benoit. The match, Randy Orton beat the guy Triple H and Shawn Michaels couldn't beat and became the youngest world 4 years old. And then the final honorable mention is going to be Randy Orton versus Undertaker at WrestleMania 21, where he took a stab and almost beat The Undertaker at WrestleMania for his streak. So, all great matches, but now let's hop into the top 10. Coming in at number 10, we have Randy Orton versus Edge at Vengeance 2004 for the Intercontinental Championship. Now, these two have fought a lot over the years, but when these two were younger, before they even became main eventers, they had this encounter. And to be quite honest, I thought it was quite the special encounter because you had Edge, who was basically back from being injured over a year, and he was riding off some crazy momentum in 2002. So, for him to return against, one of the rising young stars in Randy Orton, it felt pretty fitting. And they went out there and basically put on one of those kind of matches that showcase what the Intercontinental Championship should mean. And, it's a title with prestige. Whether you look at matches as Savage versus Steamboat in the 80s or The Rock versus Triple H in the 90s or, many different kind of matches, the Intercontinental Championship should always be that kind of stepping stone or building block for one of these next, main eventers or prestigious wrestlers. And simply put, this match was one of those key matches to add on to the prestige and history of the title. And yeah, the two went out there, they killed it. Orton was literally doing freaking leg drops. Hilariously enough, they both were having some pretty innovative offense, and clearly that was going to happen since this was in their younger days. So again, amazing match. What do you guys have to say about this match?
I gotta say, I like the match. I remember watching it. It was a very good type of match. All the ways that Randy Orton tried to win against Edge, pulling the turnbuckles off, trying to just hurt Edge's back, and trying to go with the RKO ways, the counters to the RKO, and the finish to the match is great. The karma from Randy Orton getting that, and then getting speared is just great to see.
Yeah, honestly, a lot. Even though Randy Orton is a 14-time world champion, oddly enough, it's this Intercontinental Championship reign that is my favorite reign of his. It really, in my opinion, brought out some of his best in-ring work. And honestly, some of his best matches are from this Intercontinental title reign. So yeah, Chris, what do you think about this match, or a younger Randy Orton and younger Edge here?
I mean, from what I saw, it's definitely a slow burner. And again, I like these kind of matches if they're done correctly. And this is definitely an instance where these two competitors really gave it their all. It was a bit slow in the beginning, but as the match kind of continued on doing its thing, it really got me excited. And many times I got off my feet and I was like, oh shit, what could possibly happen? And it pretty much demonstrated the legacy of these two awesome wrestlers had for the future. And it definitely belongs in this top 10, at least for Randy's matches.
Indeed, indeed. And even though he lost here, it was another one of those great matches from 2004 that really showcased the future of Randy Orton. Now, on to the next match. Coming in at number 9, we have the All Star Raw Money in the Bank ladder match in 2013. So in 2013, WWE felt like switching things up for Monday Night Raw and felt like doing an overall all-star match between a bunch of wrestlers who have already been a world champion in the past. This match would feature Randy Orton, CM Punk, Daniel Bryan, Rob Van Dam, Christian, and Sheamus. And yeah, all these guys had some great moments in this match. Rob Van Dam, especially since this was his return, there was some great stuff going on with him. And then the last 5 minutes was some simply great storytelling with how Daniel Bryan was about to, get his moment. It looked like when Money in the Bank, but it was Curtis Axel who was a part of Paul Heyman's, group who cost him everything. And Punk was like, "What the hell are you doing?" Gave him the GTS. And when Punk looked like he was about to win, unfortunately, it led to Paul Heyman betraying CM Punk, and Paul Heyman was basically the only guy WWE wise CM Punk could have ever really trusted. So it really was a huge betrayal at the time being. And then, of course, you end things off with an amazing RKO when Orton grabbed RVD's leg and sent him off the ladder, hit him with that RKO, and Orton was able to climb that ladder and become Mr. Money in the Bank. This was an amazing match. Maybe not the best Money in the Bank ladder match of all time, but it is one of my personal favorites because everybody got to showcase themselves in some kind of fashion, and there were quite some great spots in this match in general. Easy to call it your typical Money in the Bank ladder match done right. What do you guys have to say about this?
I gotta say, it's a good match. I remember I always loved Money in Bank matches, except the one that they did on a rooftop. But this, I love,
Oh,
uh,
Lord.
yeah, ladder matches, Money in Bank matches are great to watch. And this match was probably one of my favorites to watch, and it's a great, good memories of the old days of the Raw and SmackDown era.
Mm, fair enough. Like from even 9 years ago. It's crazy. It's crazy how this match was 9 years ago. God. Now, yeah. What do you think about it, Chris?
Honestly, this was one of my personal favorites. It was cool seeing like Randy Orton, Danny Bryan, CM Punk, and shit, even Christian Cage and Sheamus. They all did a great job, and there was many spots throughout the match where I'm just like, "Oh my god, dude! Like, what is happening?" And it's another demonstration of like Randy doing his thing, but it was also he gives the spotlight to other wrestlers, and I like that. And
Yeah,
for what it is, it's definitely number 9 spot because it's a classic. I can't deny it, and we're never gonna see these guys. Well, I mean, you'll see Daniel Bryan and CM Punk on obviously on AEW, but for the rest of them,
same
oh,
with
and
Christian. Yeah,
yeah, and then
yeah.
for the
All that's
rest of
left
them,
is
they're just
Orton and
retired.
Sheamus.
But
Yeah.
yeah, I really liked it. I can't complain, and it was a fun watch. And definitely check it out on Peacock. Not sponsored.
All right. Next match. Next match was from the main event of WrestleMania 30. It was Randy Orton defending the WWE World Heavyweight Championship. Yes, he had possession of the WWE and the World Heavyweight Championship at one point. Kind of like how Chris Jericho was the first undisputed, and same with Roman Reigns. So, yeah, he is kind of, in his own league right there. But he's defending the belt against 2014 Royal Rumble winner Batista, and against a man who the Authority kept getting in the way of over and over and over again, Daniel Bryan. So these three went out there, they killed it, and there were a lot of crazy spots like the Batista bomb into the RKO through the announcer table. Randy Orton being the first person in history to kick out of Daniel Bryan's running knee finisher. And of course, the finish where Daniel Bryan made Batista tap out. Not many people have done that. So, yeah, all three of these guys got the shine in this match. It wasn't just a Daniel Bryan match. And Randy Orton having that special entrance with the live band as well just honestly adds on some bonus points for me. So, what do you guys think about this match?
I remember watching this match. This is a great match, and it's pretty much the big memorable match for Daniel Bryan. And this kind of cemented Daniel Bryan's career as one of the best out there. And Randy Orton and Batista went out there and performed their butts off. And all the matches are great. And what Danny said about the Batista bomb and the RKO That's a great counter to the RKO, and I always love seeing great RKO counters to different things. And I gotta say, I love the great match.
Agreed. What do you think, Chris?
This is probably one of my favorite matches of all time. Not even just because of the Randy Orton. It's mostly a Daniel Bryan sort of thing, and the backstory behind it. It's so good, and the fact that Randy Orton really did his thing and really put over Daniel Bryan and give him the shot that he needed, that he was deserving of, really just showcased how much of a great guy Randy Orton is. So this is definitely a top 10 best matches of all time for me, personally.
Wow, okay, fair enough.
So good.
Yeah, like people who think Randy Orton can't have 5-star matches are absolutely crazy at this rate. Just absolutely crazy. But I digress. Now we're moving on to the next match on this list. Now the next match on this list is actually a Survivor Series match. Now, Randy Orton has survived on his team in Survivor Series a total of 5 times, and 3 times being by himself, 2003, 2004, and 2005, 3 years straight of being the sole survivor in the main event Survivor Series matches. So, that gave him the title of being Mr. Survivor Series in the way that Undertaker and Shawn Michaels have WrestleMania. So, we start off with the first Survivor Series match that Orton had, though, and in my opinion, it's the best Survivor Series match he has had, because simply put, Randy Orton wasn't the only one that got the shine here. Shawn Michaels went on his absolute tear. You know, he fought 3-on-1 and almost beat Orton 1-on-1, but the numbers game did eventually just become too much for Shawn Michaels. And again, these were one of these matches that helped elevate the hell out of Randy Orton. And the stunner he took from Steve Austin was amazing. And yeah, I love this Survivor Series match. It's literally a Ruthless Aggression era classic for me. So what do you guys think about this match?
I like the match. I remember the ending was very good. Well, it's kind of like a Sting, like what happened when the Sting came out with Authority, but then it was Batista came out to help Randy with the Batista bomb, and then helped Randy win. But it was a great matches, bloody. I love that. Was this, Steve Austin starts beating up on Bischoff. It was very funny. I remember watching that. It was a great match to see. I always love Survivor Series matches.
I agree with that. I genuinely agree with that. And what do you have to say, Chris?
And again, another certified hood classic, if I do say so myself. This is honestly like the best of this era, and we're never gonna get this era back ever again. But
It's so sad.
it's so sad, but I enjoyed it. There were so many comedic like responses, like Booker T, and then just seeing Batista being like a heel, it's just like, "What are you doing?" And then Stone Cold's like poor, like eyes just like, "Oh no, I just lost my fucking job
Yeah,
after I cheated to try to
yeah,
help you." And then Shawn Michaels, dude, what a champ! He took on 3 different dudes, but unfortunately he lost. But I was just like, God damn, Shawn Michaels,
yeah.
so good.
This match could also be said about Shawn Michaels is just probably one of the greatest in-ring performers ever, if not the greatest in-ring performer ever. Like, it's insane how absolutely incredible Shawn Michaels actually was. But yeah, amazing Survivor Series match. Moving on to number 6. Number 6, Hell in a Cell, Randy Orton versus Jeff Hardy. When Randy Orton returned as a heel in 2018, he was specifically after everyone's favorites like John Cena, AJ Styles, Jeff Hardy. But first was Jeff Hardy. And simply put, Randy Orton on his angry tear caused him to be even more sadistic than ever. And on multiple SmackDowns leading up, he would do low blows. He would, shove needles in Jeff Hardy's earlobe, a bunch of crazy, crazy stuff. But this is where Randy Orton once again showcases he is an absolute sadistic psychopath. And he has quite a few amazing Hell in a Cell matches. Another Hell in a Cell match will be later on this list He also has his Hell in a Cell match against Sheamus, his Hell in a Cell match against Daniel Bryan, 2 Hell in a Cell matches against John Cena. Randy Orton has quite the legacy inside the Hell in a Cell, but for this spot specifically, Randy Orton and Jeff Hardy decided to go all out insane with this one. Randy Orton literally shoved, like I said, a needle in Jeff Hardy's earlobe, but this time he didn't shove it. Not only did he shove it in Jeff Hardy's earlobe, he started twisting his earlobe, and it looked like. And I almost actually was just nervous and clinching, like, oh my god, is he actually about to rip this dude's earlobe off or split this dude's ear open? Like, honestly, it got really insane. And Jeff Hardy being able to still fight throughout all that pain, hit a swanton bomb, even though Orton kicked out of it. The finish where Hardy, once again proving why he's one of the crazy daredevils in wrestling history. He was like swinging on the top of the cell like it was a swing set or something, or monkey bars actually. Monkey bars is a better way to describe it. And then he face planted himself through a table, and Orton just took advantage and pinned him. Simple as that. So yeah, this is a great match. It might be slower compared to other Hell in a Cell matches, but I think this is great, and it really showcases the rivalry these two had with each other. And even though the Royal Rumble 2008 match is great, I think this 2018 Hell in a Cell match is greater. So I'm going to pass it on to my co-host.
This is a great match. I remember watching this too. And Hell in a Cell matches are great and brutal. And it was not a needle, but it was a screwdriver that he put in his earlobe. But it was a
screwdriver, yeah.
It was still messed up because it looked like it was gonna the earlobe was gonna break or like snap off. It looked so like it was just cringe. It made me like twist up a little bit. It was a great match. I always love it. The ending was a little bit weird, I would say. Sometimes I would say it to myself because it was just a face plant and then pinned him off that. But it was still cool because of him pretty much going monkey barring on top of the cell, which not a lot of people do. And I think it was pretty cool. I love seeing the match. So
I like it. Oh, sorry to interrupt. I like the fact that this match kind of ended in Jeff Hardy doing a massive mistake, because that was kind of one of the massive points Orton made about Hardy throughout his rivalry, that he did all these stunts and stuff without any reasoning, really. And that's why he targeted a lot of the other wrestlers that he did. So I felt like the ending just kind of was poetic for what Orton was trying to say about a lot of wrestlers in 2018.
And just like stated before,
look at what Sammy Guevara did. Like this,
I was actually gonna bring that up. Funny enough, dude.
Like I felt like this was kind of a poke at that, but this made a lot more sense to me. So yeah, what do you think, Chris?
It was definitely the Sammy Guevara ball, but it wasn't like an accident. This was more of a kind of Jeff Hardy just being too reckless, and at the end it just kind of just screwed him over last minute. And then Randy Orton's a smart dude, and the fact that the way it ends this match, I was like, holy shit, that Jeff Hardy just ended his whole career by missing that pouch. But it's definitely a favorite of mine. It's not his brutal match, but we'll get to it later. But this is definitely a favorite by Randy
Now
Orton.
moving on to number 5. Number 5, Randy Orton versus Seth Rollins at WrestleMania 31. Believe it or not, this match was only 13 minutes. Yeah, it was only 13 minutes, and they went out and put on an absolute amazing match. And not only was the match amazing, but it was also that ending that people are going to remember forever. That curb stomp counter into an RKO is going to, like I said, it lives rent-free in wrestling fans' heads because the counter is just perfection. And it's probably one of the best RKOs ever. You got the moonsault into the RKO with Chad this year, which was amazing. You got the Evan Bourne airborne counter into the RKO from 2010, which was amazing. There are multiple candidates, but my personal favorite would have to be this curb stomp into the RKO. The crowd going insane, and then Randy Orton obviously looking very happy about it. So, yeah, brilliant match. And the fact that they were able to take 13 minutes and do everything they did within that time just goes to show how good and how crafty Randy Orton is with his matches, and I could give that praise to Seth Rollins in a way, uh, as well, saying that he really did a good job at knowing what to do with his time and making himself look good within his time. So yeah, what do you guys think about this match?
This match was a great match. I remember watching this in Santa Barbara. Was just on vacation. This was a great match. The curb stomp was probably one of the biggest things that curb stomp into the RKO. One of the biggest RKOs in the world. Probably my all-time favorite is the Evan Bourne one, but this one was probably secondary. They did it was a great counter, and everyone loved it. Everyone shouted. I remember when he hit that, everyone shouted, got up on their feet. Everyone just loved seeing that because everyone really did not like Seth Rollins. So it's really a good payback. So I remember I really liked this match.
All right, and for you, Chris?
I I have a bit of a hot take on this one. I thought it was good, but only just for that final ending of Seth Rollins like about to stomp in his head, and then Randy Orton like Arcano out the sky. But besides that, I kind of thought this match was kind of like I meh at the most part because the whole bodyguard thing I didn't really understand what that was all about. It was just kind of like
So at the time,
annoying.
at the time that was at the time he had security guards because he was basically the future for WWE. Like he was with the Authority now. They basically kind of kicked Randy Orton out after failing against Daniel Bryan multiple times.
Oh,
So there's
okay.
that's more clarification.
Okay, gotcha. But other than that, it's just the bodyguards kind of like ruined it for me, and like they just kind of interfered with the great match, and it was just like, just get out of here. You're not necessary. But that was okay. But the finisher is what I really enjoyed about this match. That was absolutely insane. That was the
All
greatest
right,
RKO I've ever saw in my life. So
it was
epic.
indeed. But you know what? That's a fine take. That's a fine take. I can't argue too much with that. Now, moving on to number four. Number four is Randy Orton versus Edge, Backlash 2020, greatest wrestling match ever. This was during the pandemic. WWE were not cool by promoting this match as the greatest wrestling match ever. I don't think that's fair to any human beings to promote something as the greatest thing ever because what if it doesn't deliver? Then those people are just going to get a lot of hate or a lot of negative energy that is just unwarranted, I guess you could say. So at the end of the day, when it comes down to this match, was it the greatest wrestling match ever? No. But was it an amazing wrestling match? Absolutely. And, they went out there and they killed it. And literally, they went as far as to hit rock bottoms, pedigrees. They literally were hitting other people's finishers and going, like I said, going all out to really try to make this one of the greatest wrestling matches ever. And Randy Orton really, like I said, when he performs at his best, he is one of the best. And not just that, I think he is one of the best in general. And this match really showcases him doing very well in that instance. And of course, him ending it with the punt is glorious as well. This match was actually filmed for 3 hours and edited over time into what it is now. And Edge, unfortunately, did get injured in this match. But honestly, if you have two people wrestling for 3 hours straight, someone's just bound to get hurt by that. So honestly, though, kudos to both of these guys for wrestling for 3 hours straight. And uh, yeah, what do you guys think about this match?
I like the match. I'm just gonna make this quick. That I really like this match. It was a great all the moves that they used that kind of references to the older wrestlers. It was great, and it was a great match. It was not the best wrestling match in the world, but it is a great match, and this is why it's on the list.
E. And for you, Chris?
And for me, I liked it. Like it's unfortunate, like you said before, it was during the COVID time, so not a lot of people were allowed to be in the presence of this great match. So we'll we'll see for now, but I liked it. It was pretty good. So yeah.
All right, now I think these top three are all matches we're all going to very much praise a lot. Moving on to the top three. All right, coming in at number 3, Randy Orton versus Christian, SummerSlam 2011 World Heavyweight Championship. And this was a no-holds-barred match. So, crazy enough, before the match even started, Christian had a surprise manager for this match. And that person turned out to be Edge. But Edge cut a really brilliant promo summarizing how Christian's been over the past 3 months towards Randy Orton after he won the world title. And at first, when he won the world title, he was proud of him, but now he's seen how Christian has changed because of that title, and he's not just going to stand by for it. So he said, "Good luck in your match, but I'm not going to be here to watch it." So, simply put, he went out to the back. Randy Orton came out vengeful, ready to take back what is his. And they went out there, and Orton basically killed Christian. That's the best way to simply put it. He hit him with a scoop slam through a table, DDT through a trash can, RKO on top of stairs. Oh, and then I think another RKO on top of the announcer table at one point. And then also, Randy Orton was so driven he kicked out of a kill switch as well, which not many people do as well. So, yeah, I just think this match was absolutely amazing. It's a masterpiece, and especially with all the limitations in the PG era that there are, it didn't feel like this match felt very limited at all. And that's just my personal opinion. So, what do you guys think?
I really like this match. It was great. It's always hardcore rules and always the RKO's. The everything was cool, and I always love hardcore rules. And anytime Randy Orton does an RKO, you would do it extreme, and he definitely did it extreme twice in this match.
Yeah, brilliant. And as for you, Chris?
And for me, it was good, but these last two, like we'll get into it, but this is definitely it's good for me, but it's not my favorite on these top three. I thought there were better matches, but like you said, the whole Edge thing coming out as a manager surprise was really cool. Seeing that and Christian Cage and Randy Orton going at it's definitely a fun time, but not my personal top three. But I can see how it can be for you because there was many spots of them going at it. So yeah,
All right, fair enough. Moving on to number 2. Now, number 2 is a Hell in a Cell match that, for some weird reason, does not get talked about a lot at all. And it's weird because this is easily the most underrated Hell in a Cell match ever. Randy Orton versus Undertaker, Armageddon 2005. When people think of the year 2005 for wrestling, there are 2 feuds in mind. Rey Mysterio versus Eddie Guerrero, and Randy Orton versus The Undertaker. Randy Orton and The Undertaker had a series of great matches throughout that year. And it was a really great story about how at first Orton claimed he was never scared of Undertaker, but throughout time he was just simply proven wrong. His father got involved, and there was even a match they fought at No Mercy 2-1. But beyond all of that, we get to this final chapter, and Orton goes through it, but so does Taker. Everyone in this match basically bleeds, even Orton's father. And simply put, Orton did splashes. He even hit Undertaker's freaking tombstone. And unfortunately, all that just wasn't enough against the dead man. But, man, what a war. What an ending to a war. What do you guys have to say?
I really love the match. One of my favorites of all time is The Undertaker, and I always love watching him. And against Randy Orton is just a classic. You cannot say anything else than it's just a classic. It's a bloody match. The referees were bleeding, the outside people were bleeding, Randy was bleeding, Undertaker was bleeding, pretty much everyone, and it was a spectacular match. And this is why I always love Rand, Rand, Randy Orton and Undertaker.
All right. And for you, Chris.
I want to say thoroughly like this This is probably one of my favorite Undertaker matches, dude. Just from the moment of start, there's so many build of character of Randy being a coward, which is kind of funny scene. He kind of reminded me of like MJF's kind of thing, where he's just like he's hiding away, he's being cowardly, but then he finally like
Dude,
kicks into overdrive where he's like cheating constantly, and his dad like coming
yeah,
in to try to help him, and just the Undertaker not giving a shit and grabbing his dad. And he's like, you know what, you're fucking annoyed. I'm gonna end it right now with you, and him choke slamming and hitting him with a fucking tombstone was so good. And then the same
yeah,
thing. And then when Randy Orton tried to hit him with an RKO, the Undertaker just took it and he was like, "No, you're not pinning me down that easily." And he got up, did his trademark thing, and still defeated him. Even after all the shit that Randy Orton did, the Undertaker's like, "You may be a legend killer, but you can't defeat me, bitch."
yeah,
That's gonna be
yeah.
Brock
This.
Lesnar.
Oh, no. Hilariously enough, Undertaker wanted Randy Orton to be the one to beat the streak, but Randy Orton actually declined.
That's good.
So, no, that's actually a true story. But yeah, this is a masterpiece, perfectly enough. And yeah, we're gonna wrap this up as soon as we can here and get to our number one spot. Number one, Randy Orton match of all time. My favorite match of all time. Backlash 2004, Intercontinental title, hardcore, Randy Orton, Cactus Jack. Now, why, oh why do I love this match? I've explained it multiple times and I'll gladly explain it again. Because this match, simply put, has everything to love about wrestling. It has storytelling, it has huge spots, and the story really is how Randy Orton claimed to be the legend killer. He killed legend after legend after legend, and now he has to deal with Mick Foley, someone who usually gets his ass kicked and all this stuff. And simply put, Mick Foley is putting Randy Orton through the Mick Foley experience. And not only that, Randy Orton is surviving it and beating Mick Foley at his own game. And it's really what made Randy Orton such a huge star. Only a few months later, he went on to become the youngest world champion ever. And it was a good send-off for Mick Foley as well. He would be gone for 2 years until he eventually came back to feud and even team with Edge. So, yeah, what do you think about this match, guys?
I always love the match, and it shows how that both of them can be a hardcore. That they don't, and mainly Mick Foley, that he says that he can still fight and he can still produce the best match ever. And this shows how great these two are in together. And it's never this match is never gonna happen again, or is never gonna produce a match just like this in our days in WWE right now. This is what we call a spectacular match.
Yeah, I agree. All right, and to wrap things up, Chris, thoughts on this match?
It's literally the greatest match. And if you saw our last video, sorry to the show, this is what destroyed the John Cena debate. But truly, this is one of the greatest wrestling matches of all time. Not just because it's strictly a hardcore. It was just the passing of the torch of Mick Foley to his for Randy Orton. And there's many highlights of not just Mick Foley taking damage. He also did damage to Randy Orton, but it kind of showcased what Randy Orton was going to be like in the future. And hell, he's still like that even to this day. So definitely his best match of all time. Randy Orton goaded.
Definitely. Randy Orton goated indeed. And thank you all so much for watching this video. I've been Daniel.
I've been Berman.
And Chris is invincible. And we'll see you all in the
Next time.
next episode.
Yeah.